Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you're on and you want to say hi, please go ahead and do. I'm going to get started in just a couple of minutes, but and wait for a couple of people to jump on because I did say I would go live at 11 a.m. and it's still a little bit early. But in today's live, we're going to talk about how to manifest money without working for it. Manifest money without working for it. So again, as you come in, just go ahead and say hi. Let me know where you're coming from. What time is it where you are? Again, right now it's about 11 a.m. my time, and I live in Florida in the United States. But yeah, this live is going to be about manifesting money without working for it. So I do have some information for you guys that I've really been wanting to share because I've personally gotten to the point where I'm not working that much. And that's actually why I'm doing the live because it's gotten to the point where I really want to work more just for fun. And I really wanted to jump on and connect more with you guys because it's been a while since I've done this and I actually have the time to do it. And at the same time, I've been seeing a lot of people around me really struggling to work a lot. Like they're really hustling for their money. And so I really wanted to do this live because you guys don't need to be working that much. I promise you. You do not need to be working that much. Again, as you're jumping in, please go ahead and say hi. I see a few of you jumping on now. Hello, Sharon. I got A. Hello, SKA from Portland, Oregon, 8 a.m. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Manifesting Goddess. Hello. Hello, thank you. And also, guys, as you're coming in, you can say hi, tell me where you're from. And also, if you have questions about manifesting money without working for it, I'd love to hear them. Again, that's what we're going to be talking about in today's audio or in today's video. And so we got a few of you on. So let's go ahead and kind of jump in and talk a little bit about this. The first thing that I wanted to mention about this, okay, this is a big thing. If you want to manifest money without working for it, one of the biggest things that is going to help you is to focus more on receiving rather than money going out. And this is something I wanted to put at the beginning because this is something I see so many people struggle with it. And even people who know me, they know my work, they follow the things that I talk about. And then when I talk to them about money, a lot of times the thing that they're focused on is money going out. Okay, so I have this expense that's coming up, or this thing I had to pay money for. This costs so much money. And if you want to manifest money without working, one of the key things to understand is that manifesting money without working is about receiving. Okay, it's about receiving. And in order to drum something up, to improve your receiving, you have to focus on your receiving. Okay, focus on your receiving. Oh, we got more people jumping in. Hello. Oh, Banji's here. Hi, Banji. I got to say hi because he always hops in. How are you doing? Beverly, good morning from Ohio. Oh, I got some questions coming in about money. Okay, this is good. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Please be sending me your questions about how to manifest money without working for it. Okay, but again, the main idea here is we want you to focus on receiving. So I want to share a quick story from my personal life from literally yesterday. Yesterday. So my daughter is about to turn 16 years old, and my husband found a car that he wanted to get for her. Okay. So that was yesterday's activity, was going to get her this car. And my husband was getting kind of overwhelmed by the pricing and thinking about the money going out. And I was noticing that as he was thinking about the money going out, there were more things that came up. So like the car only came with one key and not two keys. So then that was an extra $300. And the car didn't have the warranty included. So that was an extra $900. And he kept noticing that the money was going out and more was going out and more was going out and more was going out. And it was so funny to watch because I know that the trick is very simple. Just switch it around. Okay. So, honey, please just start focusing on money coming in. You know the game. You know how this works. The more you focus on money going out, the more you're going to have to work for this car. Okay. The more you focus on money coming in, the more solutions are going to come to show up. And so we started talking more about money coming in. And then he suddenly realized, oh my goodness, I think I'm about to hit a bonus at work. I just realized that that's going to be an extra $6,000. Just focusing on money coming in allowed unexpected money to suddenly dawn on him that, oh my goodness, this is coming in. Okay. And so this is a big thing. I've been talking to quite a few people about money. And that's one of the biggest things. My kids, this much, it costs this much to do this, it costs this much to do that. This bill went up, prices are so high. And all of that focus is on money going out. And when you're focusing on that, money will go out more and more and more, putting you in the situation where you have to work more for your money. Okay, so that's the first lesson we want to talk about is focus on receiving what's coming in. Now, I do have some other things I want to talk about, but I want to jump through here because I know some people have asked some questions and see if there's anything I can answer real quick before I jump to my next point about manifesting money without working for it. Again, just focusing on receiving will allow money to come in from all kinds of places. Okay. Oh, I like this question. Let me see if I say this right. Shasta Silver Chair SG says, I'm dropping behind in setting appointments in my part-time telemarketing job. I have no motivation and the writing's on the wall. What to do? Lack of motivation. Okay. Has anybody experienced this before where maybe you're falling behind? Like people who are in sales or who run their own business, they can often go through this. I've seen myself go through this before where that motivation isn't there and you just don't want to work. And then how are you going to make money? How's the money going to come in? Okay, so the first thing to realize, again, you don't have to work for your money. Okay, so that's one thing I would point out is if you're in a situation like that where perhaps you would ordinarily be focused on trying to generate more income, but for some reason you really don't want to work, you want to kind of validate that state. Okay, so like right now, for whatever reason, I feel like taking it easy, and that's okay. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's going to put me into an alignment rather than doing what a lot of people do, which is trying to force themselves to work, force themselves to get the commission, force themselves to make the sale. Instead, step back a second. For whatever reason, I want to take it easy right now. Now, taking it easy, some people worry that if they take it easy, they're not going to generate money. But one thing that you're going to notice, and you probably notice this in your life, is that things come and go in cycles. And so you're going to have periods of time where you really feel like pushing and doing stuff, and other periods of time where you don't. You want to rest and reflect. And with working, especially like if you live in the United States, I don't know about every country, but I know here this is like major issue. Everybody wants to be on like all the time. Okay. I work every day, all day, every day. I'm hustling all the time. And there's no honor and respect for that time where you're having that experience where you don't have motivation and you want to take it easy. Okay. Honoring the take it easy and saying, okay, I don't have motivation right now, so I'm going to take it easy. And when I'm ready to work and I want to work, I'll jump back into it. What that does is it validates where you're at rather than pushes against it, which is a good law of attraction thing to do. Again, we always want to validate where we are. If I'm feeling like I can't push, that's great. That's a good thing. I get to rest now. I get to relax now. Validating it rather than pushing against it. Another thing that it does that is so, so powerful is it puts you more into the realm of receiving. Okay. Because if you try and push ahead when you don't want to be working, what you're saying to yourself and to the universe energetically is, I have to work for my money. I have to work for my money. But if you allow yourself to take it easy and honor your rest cycles, the message that you put out to the universe is things are fine. I'm going to be supported regardless. I don't have to work that hard. And that ties back into the theme of today's video here, our live about manifesting money without work. You would be surprised. And I talked about this in a recent video. I forget which one it was. But as I've manifested more money, I've ended up in a much more affluent community. And so now I live around a lot of people who have money. Now, I personally did not come from money. Okay. I come from hustle culture and like coming from behind. I'm like a come up type of person. I'm like a reformed hustler. Okay. Like I really was in that perspective of you got to be in the grind. I don't have that much money. I need to work 2 or 3 jobs, whatever. And as I learned about the law of attraction and I learned, how to harness the power of abundance attraction, and my ability to attract more has improved, I've started to attract people into my life who are more abundant because that's what happens. Okay. As you change your consciousness, you become aligned with other people who have a similar frequency. And so I was mentioning in this video that a lot of these people that I'm around now, they're not working that hard. They're not. They're taking it easy. They're playing golf. They're shopping in the middle of the day. Like they're not working that hard. And so that conundrum that you mentioned here in the comments about dropping behind and setting appointments, that wouldn't bother them. They would just take it easy. And that attitude allows the universe to hear this person thinks everything's going to work out for them. Okay. So my biggest suggestion for that is make peace with that. Be okay with that, honor that, and validate that this is a good time for me. This is a rest time. This is a time for me to practice receiving money rather than pushing ahead and to drum that up so that I can attract more money without working for it. Okay. And I'm going to answer some more questions. Of course, if you have questions about manifesting money without working for it, put them in the chat. I'm going to answer as many as I can. But I also want to talk about some more stuff and make sure that I get this into the live because I want to make sure that there's lots of information here for anyone who's watching now or watching after it publishes. Okay. All right. So when we talk about manifesting money without working for it, here's another big thing that a lot of people miss. And you want to grab onto this and run with this as much as you can. Okay. And it's to receive from all areas, receive money from all areas and be enthusiastic about money coming from all areas. Most people, by my observation, are very, very keen on trying to get money from one place. They want to get it. Most people want to get it from their job or their spouse's job. Some people are really bent up on, I got to get it from the lottery or I got to get this inheritance. But it's like the mind is very fixated on, I need to prove to myself that I'm a good manifester of money. And therefore, the money must come from this one place. And when we become very hyper focused on money coming from one place, what we do unconsciously is that we shut down those other avenues that could be flowing to us. Okay. So money can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to come from a job or a spouse or a lottery win or an inheritance. It could come from an infinite number of places and locations. But here's the thing. You're only going to attract what you're focused on. Okay. So if you're really focused on your job and making money through your job, that will become the primary place that money comes from. But you're going to be shutting out these other avenues because you're not open to them. Okay. So if you do not want to be hyper focused on your profession or on your job, and you would like to see more money coming in easily without you having to work for it, this is something that's super simple to do, which is to just start focusing on where money is coming from that is not your job. Okay. So, one easy one, let's say that you're in a dual income household. So you work and maybe your husband works and you've been really focused on money coming from your job. Well, what you can do is spend a little more time thinking about money coming from your husband's job or money that just shows up in the mail, or suddenly there's some kind of rebate that comes your way, or suddenly there's money that's on the ground, or suddenly there's an investment that pays off. And so this is something I've played around with a lot. I'm very hyper aware of whenever money shows up. So like even like I've got like an old 401k from like a job way, way back. And I don't even, whatever. It doesn't have that much money in it. But whenever the statement comes in, I'll open it. And if the amount has gone up, I celebrate. Oh my goodness, it went up $10. Yay. 10, who cares about $10, right? $10 is not that big a deal to most people. But I do celebrate that win. Okay. Because then what that does is that allows me to earn more from that particular stream of income. Because again, whatever you focus on, if you're focusing on money coming from a place other than your job, then more money is going to, I'm going to say that, then more money is going to flow from that place other than your job. Okay. So be mindful of that. You really want to get into the mindset that money can come from anywhere at any time. There's a surprise around every corner. It's not, okay, I get my paycheck on the 1st and the 15th, and that's it. And maybe my boss will give me a raise once a year, and that's it. And unfortunately, that's the mindset a lot of people in the collective have. And so that really restricts their earning potential because they're so focused on it coming from one particular place. All right, I got some more stuff on manifesting money without a job or without working for it. We've got so many of you guys writing in with your questions, so I want to make sure that I answer them. Again, if you've got questions about manifesting money without working for it, put them in the chat. We got a lot of you here. Hello, Luna. Hello, Martina from Norway. Oh, okay. Catherine's got a great question here. Oh my gosh. Yeah. How how many of you guys feel this one? How to not feel guilty about not working hard for money? Do you feel guilty when money just comes, or do you feel guilty about the idea about just receiving money? Okay. This is a big one for a lot of people because the idea of working for it is really ingrained in the collective. And, I think most of us have experienced this, that the majority of us have been raised from the perspective that you need to prove yourself, you need to contribute something to society, you need to earn those dollars, and that the dollars are somehow a reflection of your personal worth as a human being. Okay. And so if you believe that, there's good reason for it because you've probably been told that your entire life. And even if you don't believe it, you still see people talking about it all the time. Right. And so this is one of those. I love this question because this is one we all have to work on. And a lot of it has to do with getting away from the idea that any of this stuff is real. Okay. Reality is a dream. It is a dream. Okay. And so if you're working hard in a dream, that's just a dream of you working hard. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. So if we were to go to sleep tonight and dream about working in the factory, okay, that would just be a dream. It wouldn't mean anything. It wouldn't make me any more worthy that I was hustling in the factory when I woke up. It would just be that dream that I was having. I was having a dream about working. And we want to kind of infuse that into the present reality, the 3D reality, is that when I'm working, it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have some big, huge significance attached to it. Rather, we've been told and we believe somehow that it has significance, but it actually does not. And even if you look into 3D reality, you can kind of see this, like how many people work their whole lives and then they die and life goes on. Nobody cares, right? I'm not saying that to be mean, but like it didn't matter what they did. Life goes on. You want to kind of have that attitude because a lot of times when we feel guilty about working hard, what we're saying is that there's something I should be doing. There's something I should be doing. There's something I should be achieving or should be accomplishing. And I'm letting that dictate my life choices and keep me in a perspective where I'm doing things I actually don't enjoy doing. And I'm actually restricting the amount of money that I'm making because I'm not in the flow and I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. And it really doesn't even matter. Now, stepping more into the zone of making money without working for it gets you more into the perspective of you can do whatever the heck you want. Okay. And money can flow because this is just a dream. It can come from whatever. Okay. It doesn't have to come from work. The guilt thing is just really a rehearsed concept that so many people have been taught. That's really what it boils down to. And you really want to dial back out of that and notice that, people that are working exceptionally hard, a lot of times they're not really actually even contributing. And I can say this from my own perspective. If I look back to when I had that perspective, back before I understood about the law of attraction and I worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time and I hustled really hard. Okay. If I look back on that person that did that stuff back then, she was not nearly as impactful or as effective as the version of me today who honestly doesn't give a, okay? I just do what I want. And somehow this work is more impactful to other people, more people gain stuff from it, more money comes to me, and I'm not working that hard. And so noticing that too is that if you look at people that are working really hard, really hard and tie their worth to their jobs, very frequently those people are not as impactful as they want to believe that they are. And you may have seen people like that too. I'm thinking about someone in my life. I'm not going to put them on blast right now because that wouldn't be fair to them. I'm not going to say who they are or what relation they are to me. But I do know somebody in my reality who is like super fixated on working and feeling, in specific, feeling guilty if she is not working. Okay, so she works above and beyond. She works more hours than she's supposed to. She takes on more tasks and obligations than she is required to. She does not make nearly enough money. She always seems to be coming up short on bills. And the people that she works with don't really seem to appreciate her that much. But she's super focused on, I have to work, I have to work, I have to work. But her work isn't having the intended consequence. It's more of that attitude of, I don't care, I'm gonna do what I want, that has an intended impact, or not intended, an unintended impact, but an impact on the world. When you don't care and you're just doing what you want to do, that's more positive for other people to witness and experience. And that's more uplifting for other people to witness and experience. And that provides more value for other people to witness and experience. And because you're in the flow and you're not worried about guilt and shame, you're simply in that more joyous state, which allows more money to flow to you. Okay. All right. Again, if you guys have questions about attracting money without working for it, put them in the chat. It's nice to see all of you here. Hello, Manuel from Germany. Anita from New Delhi. Oh my goodness. Hello, all of you. Yes, definitely put in your questions in the chat. I'm going to answer as many as I can. And I'm also going to go through kind of my notes here of things I wanted to make sure to talk about when it comes to attracting money without working for it. Oh, and as a side note, one of them, and I mentioned this at the beginning, but I'm going to re-mention it because it's worth mentioning. This is why I'm doing this live right now. Quite honestly, I've gotten to the point where I'm working like less than 3 hours a day. And that's great. But it's also gotten to the point where I want to actually have time to do more. I actually have the time and I want to actually do things like this, like make lives, etc. And so that's something to notice, is that the less you have to work, the more you're actually going to want to work. But then the work is no longer work. It's like fun. Like I was like excited to come sit down. I hadn't done a live in a long time. Like, this will be fun. This will be cool. I haven't been working that much. I'd like to get in there and do stuff. Okay. That's kind of the vibe we're talking about. It's not that you can't work, but if you're working, it's because you want to work, because it's enjoyable to you, because it's putting you into a flow state. And in addition to that, because I've got so much time, another thing that I do have right now, I'll go ahead and mention it if you're interested, because I get lots of people asking me about coaching. I typically don't do it. I haven't done it in like 2 years, standalone coaching, but I am bringing it back this month. I have a link for it. It will only be up for a couple of weeks because I don't want to work that much. Okay. So if I get too many orders for it, I will shut it down. But if you are interested in audio coaching from me, it's not live one-on-one coaching. It's like you write in with a question and I record an answer for you and send it back. But if you're interested, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description. I'll also put a link in the chat so you can look into that. Again, it's going to be done at the end of the month. All right. But our next point here on how to manifest money without working for it. Okay. This one's so big. I love this one. It's about using the term work to your advantage. Okay. Here's the mantra. Okay. Money works for me. I don't work for money. Okay. Money works for me. Money works for me. A lot of people have the perspective that they have to work for the money, i.e., money is in charge. Money controls my life. I have to do things for them. Money dictates my choices. It dictates where I go, what I do. That's a common perspective, a very common perspective that a lot of people have. And it is something that absolutely gets in the way with manifesting money without having to work for it. Oops, I forgot to put this link in. Okay. If you wanted the coaching, I'm dropping that in real quick before I forget. There it is. And I'll try to remember to do it at the end too. So there's a link there. Okay. If you want to attract more money, you have got to get into the mindset that you're the boss. Okay. Money works for you, it doesn't go the other way around. Okay, so I've got a funny story about this. I went to go visit my brother, who lives in Seattle, and my brother was raised by the same parents as me. And so, if you've watched my videos, you know that I come from a very frugal minded family. You got to work hard, you got to save your pennies. Let me know if you had that experience. But certainly did, and my brother certainly did. And I've spent a lot of time rewiring my abundance programming. And I would say my brother's spent some time towards it. But when we get together, you can definitely see the chasm that has split between our personalities and the way that we think about money. And so I was over at his house, and I don't even know how the topic came up, but we were talking money, and he was doing the cheap, family talk, and I was kind of we were just going back kind of funny about it, but I was challenging him a little bit about it and just kind of making light about it. And at one point in the conversation, and this is, not the most ladylike thing to say, but I said to him, like, I make money my okay, that's what I said to him. I'm not doing what money wants. I'm gonna make money my okay. And he laughed about it, and his fiance laughed about it. They thought that was hilarious. They thought I was completely full of it, but they thought it was funny. And the two of them, a few weeks later, they went to Lake Tahoe for like just to go have fun. And there's a casino down there, and they like going to the casino. And my brother's like, let's go down and see if I can win. Well, his fiance made him a t-shirt, like, I don't know, with a cricket or something, and it said with, like, I think it had a pair of, like, dice, like they roll in craps, then it said, "I make money my" on the t-shirt, okay? And my brother wore it to go gamble. He went to wear that t-shirt because it was, like, kind of a joke, like, "I'm gonna make money my B, and it's gonna come to me, whatever." And he won. He texted me, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I wore this t-shirt, I made all this money at the casino." And just that attitude of, "I'm in charge of money. Money's not in charge of me." And this is so counter to what most people are doing who are really tethered to their jobs, is that money is what is in charge. Every little decision that I make in life is because of what money is going to allow me to do, or so that I can put money in the bank, or so that I can get the raise. And you want to flip that. If you want to manifest money without working for it, you want to start to make life choices based on what you want, and start to look at money as being your employee, your helper, rather than the other way around. So, a very important thing to do, because if money is working for you, it's going to give more to you. Okay. It's going to go to work for you. You don't have to work. The money is going to work for you. And by the way, people who are exceptionally abundant, this is something I've also noticed. Again, as my abundance has risen, I have attracted more affluent people into my life, and I observe them because it's just very interesting for me to do so. And they all seem to have this attitude, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, which is that, I use the money to work for me. Okay. So instead of me cleaning my house, I'm going to pay somebody else to clean my house. Instead of me doing every, aspect of my business, I'm going to employ people to do that for me, and the money is going to work for me. And then a funny thing happens is that as they spend money to work for them, the money goes and brings more money to them. So they have more free time, more gets done. And if you look at people who are exceptionally abundant, like business people, like if you were to look at like a Warren Buffett or whatever, they're working, but a lot of what's going on behind the scenes is that people are working for them. Okay. And this isn't to say that you need to go out and employ a bunch of people, but the mindset is, I'm not holding on to my dollars. I'm not so worried about spending my money. Rather, my money works for me. I'm going to put it out there, and it's going to go to work for me. And this is a radical mindset change from what I grew up with, which is like, you better work real hard for your money and put it in the bank and don't spend it and be terrified. Okay. And so keep that in mind. Money works for you. You don't work for money. Okay. Money works for you. All right. We got some more questions here. Thanks, guys, for writing in with so many questions. If you've got questions about manifesting money without working for it, go ahead and put it in the chat. Hello, Mariana from Denmark. Thank you, Coach Debbie. Looking through these questions real quick. Let me go back up because I don't want to skip a bunch of them. Oh, oh, okay. And this is not a question, but I have to comment. I have to comment on this. Anne says, "Oh, I hate taking money from my husband. I feel shame." I got to bring that up. Okay. A lot of people have this going on. Not necessarily money from the husband, but for some people, yeah. I think for a lot of women, and I know before I learned about the law of attraction, and I felt just like you. Like if my husband paid more for the bills, that stressed me out. Like I should be able to earn my own money. It should be coming from me. I don't want to get it from this place or that place. I want it to come through my own efforts or whatever the case. A lot of people have that shame in spouses, and it goes both ways, by the way. So sometimes you may find that maybe the wife is making more money than the husband, and the husband really doesn't like taking money from the wife. You see this a lot. Okay. This is one you absolutely want to flip. Okay. You got to learn to love that. Okay. You got to learn to love that. And by the way, Anne, this is a big opportunity. If you are already receiving money from a source that you don't even really want to get it from, you are going to have an excellent time improving how much money comes from that source. Okay. So, for instance, before I learned about the law of attraction, I worked multiple jobs. We did not have that much money, but my husband always made more than me. He always made more than me, and I hated it. Hated it. Hated it. But as I grew with the law of attraction, I started to realize, okay, we always want to be validating. Okay. If we want more money to come, we have to validate where it's coming from. So then I turn that into kind of a game. And the game is just I'm going to try and appreciate the money that's coming from the husband. I'm going to try and appreciate that. And not only that, I'm going to see if we can get some more money out of him just for kicks. And I found that because of that feeling that I used to have, I have a very low degree of resistance about getting money from my husband. Okay, so if you hate getting money from your spouse, whether it's your husband or your wife, you have a very low degree of resistance about receiving money from that location. It's kind of like I don't even really want it, so it's so easy to get it. And so this is a fun little game I'll play. Like, let's say that, I want to drum up some more money because I want to go on a trip or I want to, whatever, I want to get some money. It's so easy for me to just look at my husband and be like, you know what? It'd be really cool if you made an extra, whatever, 5,000 bucks this month. It'd be really cool if you did that. And it'll come. It'll come because the resistance is so, so low. So for those of you who are in a relationship and money is coming from a partner and you'd rather see it come from yourself, now, again, the more you validate that one source, the more it's going to come from all places. But there's a huge opportunity for you to generate more revenue from that location because you already are so low resistance. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so for those of you who don't want to get it from the spouse, you have a huge opportunity in front of you to get more from the spouse. Okay, simply because it's not that important for you to get. And since we're talking here about, manifesting money without working for it, that is one really great way to manifest money without working for it. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm really glad that you did. Really glad that you did. All right, what else do I have on my list here? Again, if you've got questions about manifesting money without working for it, please go ahead and put it in the chat. Okay. Okay. My next point here, accepting help. Accepting help. Big deal. It's a big deal. Um, and I'm speaking from experience because I know where I came from conscious wise before I understood how to attract money. I know where I came from, and I see so many people struggle with this. If you are working to the bone to make your money, there's a very strong likelihood that you are taking on a lot of responsibility and you are not accepting help as much as you could be. Help. So if somebody offers to do something like carry your groceries, the natural response may be, no, 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 I got it. If someone offers to hold the door open for you, no, no, I'm okay. If somebody offers to pay the bill, no, 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 I've got this. Okay. I'm not saying that you necessarily, whomever's watching this, have this particular hang up, but I will say I definitely did. And I see it commonly with people who work really hard and do not attract as much money as they would like to attract. You have got to find a way. If you want to manifest money without working for it, you have got to find a way to make peace with receiving, to make peace with accepting, and to validate and appreciate what kind of support comes your way. So, this is actually a very simple mechanism that you can use to attract more money is to look for opportunities to accept help with grace and then also to be really kind of excited about it. Like, "Oh my goodness, I just attracted help. Somebody wanted to carry my groceries. I just attracted assistance. I just received support." Now, notice that that has nothing to do with money on the surface, okay? But it's about the attitude of receiving. When we are in a position where we're working hard for money, that's what we're doing. We have this attitude. It's a very, if we're looking at like, the metaphysical principles, it's a very yang energy. I got to take action to get a result. I got to take action to get a result. But law of attraction is a more yin principle. Okay. It's a receiving energy. I ask and I simply allow that to come back to me. So if I'm walking through the parking lot with my groceries and it's just, there's a lot there and it's heavy and it's hard, and someone shows up and offers to carry them for me, that is an opportunity to practice receiving. And so many people who work hard for money are not in the habit of accepting help. It's almost as if I can do it myself. I know for me, I had this attitude, like it was almost an insult. I mean, literally, that was how I felt. It was like literally an insult that somebody would want to help me. Don't I look competent? Don't I look like I can I can do this myself? But then if that's the way that you're leading your life, that you have to do everything yourself to get a result, then through the law of attraction, that's what you're going to experience because that's your belief. I have to work to get a result. Therefore, every dollar that goes into the bank account, I have to work for. So we want to reverse that into the perspective of help comes to me in many different forms. I am willing to receive. I am open to receive. Okay. And so that's a really big one when it comes to manifesting money without work is to train yourself to be a better receiver. And a lot of times people don't know how to do that. Like they're waiting to receive the dream that they want. Like I have it in my mind to attract this set amount of money, or I have it in my mind to attract this particular partner or this particular job. And I'll be ready to receive that when it comes. But the problem is the person hasn't put themselves in the perspective of being a good receiver in general. Okay, you want to be someone who's a good receiver in general. And good receivers, they take compliments. They accept them, they appreciate them. They take help, they take assistance. If somebody wants to buy them dinner, they accept it happily. Okay. And so that's something you really want to train yourself to do when those opportunities present themselves to you, because it will make you more receptive to receiving all kinds of assistance from the universe without working for it, including money. All right. Let's look at some of these questions you guys have. Thanks so much for writing in. Hello, Felicia. Hello, Natasha. Okay, Melissa. Melissa says, "Hi, I'm trying so hard to stay happy and positive in a job that I strongly dislike and doesn't even cover my bills anymore. Any suggestions?" Yes. Yes, we have a few. I have a few. Okay, so the first thing about this, a lot of people try and do this, by the way, and it comes from a, you know what? It means that on the surface, you understand the law of attraction and you understand the importance of being positive, and you're doing your best to kind of keep your mind in a good place. Okay. And yes, that is important on the surface. That's important for the law of attraction. We don't want to be unnecessarily negative. We don't want to talk about things in a bad way. We don't want to drum up drama where it does not exist. Okay. That is true. What you say here, though, I'm trying to say happy and a positive that I strongly dislike. Okay. This is kind of the issue that I want to point out here. If you strongly dislike something, trying to make yourself feel happy about it, first of all, isn't going to happen. Okay. Because what it's doing is it's negating, it's invalidating how you actually feel. Okay. So you actually hate your job, but you're telling yourself, oh, I like it. I like it. It's okay. I'm positive. It's going to be fine. But in your heart, you don't like it. And so, again, with the law of attraction, what we always want to be doing is we want to be validating. And so, a lot of the information that's out there is about trying to avoid negative feelings at all costs. Okay. Because negative feelings are bad and they're creating bad things in your reality. But in reality, what you want to be doing is you want to be validating everything, including your negative emotions, including your negative feelings, including things that are quote unquote bad on the surface. Okay. We want to validate it because when we validate a negative feeling, what we do is we honor it instead of pushing against it. We honor it and we say, yes, this feels bad and that's okay. That's actually a good thing. There's a good reason why it feels bad. Okay. I hope that distinction kind of makes sense because what we want to do is we want to take the negative feeling about the job and we want to alchemize it into a different result. We don't want to take the negative feeling and act like it doesn't exist because then we push against it and we keep it in place. And then we just feel worse and worse and worse and we stay stuck in the job we don't like. So, what you want to do with your negative feelings, again, you want to acknowledge them and validate them and notice what they're bringing to your life. And then the other aspect to this is that you also want to notice that your negative feelings, and you may have heard this before, they are guidance. Okay? So your emotions are guidance. They tell you things. They tell you if you're moving in a direction that's taking you where you want to go or if they're taking you in a direction that you don't want to go. And so you have to sort this one out yourself, okay? But what I would say is that on the surface, looking at what you're saying here, if this was happening to me, what would most likely be going on is that I'm staying in a job I don't like, and my guidance is trying to tell me, go find a different job or change what you're doing at this job or ask for a different assignment. Find some relief. Stop doing it the way you're doing it, Andrea, and go find a different way. Okay. That's what it's trying to tell me to do. It's trying to tell me that how I'm doing this right now is not working for me. And there's a better way. What's the better way? And then giving myself permission to move in that direction. Now, I know sometimes people get nervous about that. Well, maybe I don't know where I'm supposed to go, or maybe I'm scared to go do what it is that I really want to do. Well, that's a big thing with the law of attraction. You got to start to double, triple, quadruple down on your feelings. Okay. If something is saying, this feels like crap, I hate it. Okay. Yeah, I feel like crap about this and I hate it. So I need to go do something different. What do I want to do? What would I rather be doing? And if that makes you feel better, that's your guidance telling you that's the fit. Whether it's quit the job, ask for a different assignment, move to a different location in the office, ask to work remotely, there's many different options. And so from where you're sitting, what I would probably do is I might sit down and jot down a bunch of options because you always have options. You have infinite options at all times. There's infinite ways that you could maneuver this particular situation. So if I could be in a nice calm place, sit down and jot down as many potential moves that you could make. How could you change your situation somehow? And that would make you feel better. And jot down as many as you can. And then look at that list and notice which one of those items feels the most exciting, the most inspiring, the most fun, and go do that. Now, on a personal note, I just realized, me making this live is an example of that. So, like, I usually make long format videos. And for whatever reason, the last few, I don't know, month or so, like, I'm doing them, but I just haven't had that, like, yeah, let's go make a video feeling. And that was kind of going on for me. And so, when I feel that sense of, okay, there's something a little bit off, I don't allow it to build into like strong hate. Okay. But instead, I kind of notice it. Well, there's something here that's a little bit off. What would I rather be doing? Okay. What would I rather be doing? And this was something that came to mind. Like, I haven't done a live in a long time. And I was like, that actually sounds exciting. And so I started thinking about this maybe a couple weeks ago. Maybe we'll do a live. Maybe we'll do a live. And then I decided I was going to do it today. But for the whole last week, I've been like thinking about maybe I should just jump on. I really want to do it. And there was this excitement about doing something a little bit different. So I didn't just throw my job away. And it's not like I'm never going to make a video again. But there was something that I felt called to do differently. Okay, so that negative emotion, that feeling of like what I'm doing right now just isn't working, I'm not really feeling it. That's a sign that there's something else you'd rather be doing. So you want to kind of open up to what are the options and allow yourself to pick the one that really calls you. And then you'll have that experience that I have. I'm like, oh, wow, this is actually fun. I'm enjoying this. I'm on here yakking with you guys and having a great old time. Something different, something exciting. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. All right. So again, guys, if you've got questions about manifesting money without working for it, put them in the chat. And I do have some more information I wanted to make sure to share about if you want to make money without working for it, the things that you want to be doing. Okay. I kind of mentioned this in one of the questions before, but I want to reiterate it because this is so important. It's so important. If you want to manifest money without working for it, you've got to make peace. I hope that's all right. Okay. You've got to make peace with the idea of being lazy. I don't like the word lazy because the word lazy has like negative connotations. So we could probably think of a better word. Okay. Make peace with being relaxed. Make peace with being in the flow. Let's say that rather than lazy, because lazy is hard to, even look at that word in a positive way. But again, in our culture, particularly here in the United States, if you're in a different country and this is how it works in your country, let me know in the chat. But I know here in the United States, we are really hung up on working and that you really only have value as a human being if you are running on all six cylinders 24 hours a day. And a lot of people are really hung up on that. Like, how much did I do? How much did I accomplish? How productive was I? How many hours did I put in? And that has become an obsession in the minds of so many people. It definitely was for me. And like I mentioned earlier in this live, I'm like a reformed hustler. So I was like one of those people like I don't want to be broke. So I'm going to work 2 or 3 jobs. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to kill myself. And so I totally understand this mindset that, I'm only worthy as a human being if I'm out there going, going, going. Okay. But if you want to manifest money without working for it, then you got to be okay with not working. You gotta find a way to flip the script on that and make not working a more positive thing than working. Now, that's not to say that you can't work, but you need to somehow find a way to make peace with the idea that not working is a good thing. It's a positive thing. Okay. So let me kind of share with you how I've worked with this and how it's benefited me because like I've mentioned a few times on this already, I don't work that much anymore. I'm only working maybe 3 hours a day, sometimes an hour. It's not that much. I don't have to. I get to do it because I want to. And money still flows and it's coming from all different directions. And life is much easier. And I'd like that for all of you because a lot of you are working just way too hard and it sucks. It sucks to be working that hard. I know it's hard to like wake up every day and like the alarm hits and you hit the ground running and you are just fried and you come home and you collapse and it's just Groundhog's Day, one day after the next. It just never ends. And life does not have to be like that. Okay. It doesn't have to be that way. But if we're valuing the idea that I have to work hard for money and working is a virtue and I'm not a good person if I don't work, then that's going to drive me to continue to do that. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to flip it. Okay. So here's some of the ways that I've worked on this. I have made it my mission in life to brag about how inactive I am. And I don't mean like lazy. I just mean like how much free time I have, how much time I have to do what I want. My life is easy. I mean, I have a neighbor of mine. I think he's on the same page. I got a lot of my friends are my neighbors. And so he's one that he's kind of like-minded. And it's almost like a competition between the two of us. Who's the lazier one? I did nothing today. How'd you do today? I'm sitting out at the pool." Like, and we kind of joke about it. And he's like one of the few people who kind of gets it, and he's kind of in the same boat. Okay. You want to get in that mindset of, I want to win the competition of who worked the least, not who worked the most. Now, that's not to say again that you can't work, but work for fun. So I don't even perceive that my work is hard. It's just, this is something fun that I'm doing. This is something that's keeping me in the flow. This is an excitement. This is more of a hobby to me than work at this point. Okay. And so I want you to start to think of it that way, that I'm okay with the amount of time that I relaxed. I win if I relaxed more. I win if I was in the flow more, rather than that perspective that most people have, which is that I win if I worked harder. Okay. So if you want to attract more money without working for it again, you have to think about, what are you putting out vibrationally? Are you putting out a message that says, I work all the time and I have to work and I value work? I value work above everything else, which, by the way, a lot of people do. Okay. That kind of personality is going to receive money through work. Okay. They're not staying open to the idea of, I don't have to work. I can take it easy. I can allow things to flow. Okay. So making peace with the idea of relaxation and being in the flow is critical. A lot of people talk about being in the flow, a lot of content out there about detaching and being in the flow. But then the same people are out there hustling every day. Okay. Those things are incongruent. If you really want to be detached, if you really want to let go, if you really want to receive, you have to be valuing that concept of being relaxed, being detached, being in the flow. That has to be rewarding to you rather than something that you're fighting against all the time. Okay. Hope that makes sense. All right. Let's see what questions we have here. Oh, and yeah, I'm coming up on an hour soon. So I'm probably going to hang out for another 10 minutes. So again, if you got a question, throw it into the chat. Now let's see what I've got here about attracting money without working for it. Okay, Scott's got a question here. How can one lock in positive thinking on money will just come without daily life with ups and downs? Okay, I think I understand what the question is here. It's like, how do you have this positive attitude that money's just going to show up when you do get hit with a bill? When you do get hit with maybe a job loss, or when you do get hit with an expense? How do you stay positive? And that's a really important thing to understand, because if we want to become very receptive to money coming in, we have to kind of have that attitude that money's going to be coming in. And particularly if you're not working that hard, or if you're working less, or if you're outside of a job, that positive expectation is all the more important, because you don't have that false perception that may have carried you thus too far, that as long as I keep working, money will come. Okay. So staying positive, regardless of the ups and downs, is critical. Okay. So this was an example I brought up earlier in the live, and I want to circle back to it because it kind of illustrates the point. So I was talking about, when you want to attract money, you want to focus more on receiving rather than money going out. And I brought up a story about how we were buying a car for my daughter yesterday, and my husband was starting to get stressed about money going out. And then it was just like another expense, another expense, another expense. Okay. So that was going on. Right now, for me personally, I have learned how to reframe those situations. And so that's kind of what the process is that if he creates some nonsense like that, to me, it's not a bad thing. It's a positive thing. Okay. Now, I don't mean that I'm excited about it necessarily, but that I find a way to see the value in it. Okay. So on the surface, if suddenly an extra $300 expense goes out, I may get a little jolt of, oh, I didn't want to spend that. Okay. That's one of those downs in life, right? How do you stay positive when that happens? Well, first of all, you acknowledge it. Okay. Didn't like that. Okay. But how might this be serving me? How might this be beneficial? What might this be doing? Okay. Now, in that moment, I'll go through and think about, how might this be helping us? And I realize it's giving me an opportunity to fine tune with my husband, focusing on receiving rather than spending. And I also thought, wow, This is something that you could talk about in tomorrow's live. So isn't that great and fortuitous that you had that experience that you can share with other people? Okay. So notice how I took something on the surface negative monetarily, but I found a way to look at it through a different lens where maybe it's working out for me. Now, when that happens, now all of a sudden I'm looking at the exact same situation, $300 went out, but I'm not upset about it. And in fact, I'm almost kind of happy it happened. So my vibration rises back up and we stop losing money, bleeding money, and we become a magnet to a very large bonus. Okay. So that's the real trick is that, when something negative happens, understand that all things are infinite. Okay. They're infinite. They have infinite meanings and you can align with any meaning that you want. On the surface, a down may look like it has a negative meaning. And in that moment, you may feel negatively about it. But just reminding yourself, okay, well, this might be working out for me somehow. How might it be working out for me? Allows you to see how that exact down is actually an up for you somehow. Okay, so this is something you want to practice. And the beauty about this is that reframing is something you can practice all the time because life is always throwing at you all kinds of stuff. I recently met somebody new, a new friend, and sometimes when I meet new people, I'm like kind of jarred back into like old reality of, wow, this is how people think. And so this new friend and I were talking and just really kind of any little thing that on the surface seemed bad was just a bad thing. It was bad, as bad, as bad. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, but it's working out here. It could work out there. It might be this, it might be that. It's like anything you throw at me now, I can find a way to see how it might be working out. And so you want to use those opportunities. Like all these little downs in life are training ground opportunities for you to become an expert in reframing. And when you become an expert in reframing, it's very easy to stay positive that everything is going to work out because it doesn't matter what gets thrown at you. There's a positive result that can come from it. So we don't want to push against the idea of downs in life. Downs in life are an opportunity for me to become an expert reframer. And expert reframers are expert manifestors. They're experts at, turning all kinds of situations from negative to positive simply because they find a way to look at it differently. So that's a really important thing to understand. All right. Thank you for asking that question. Let's see what else we got here. Bill asked this question. When you are unhappy in a job, does this affect manifesting more money? Um, Most likely, yes. Most likely, yes, because when you are in a higher vibration, you are more receptive to money coming in than when you are in a lower vibration. The exception to that is that some people really have a dominant belief that they have to work hard for money and that the harder that they work, the more money that they will make. And so sometimes you do find that there are some people who are really hard workers. They hate their job, but they're hustling, 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 and they can manage to eke out some more money from that, but they're not going to really let the floodgates open. Okay, so maybe they're making 40,000 a year and they really hate their job, but they work really hard and they believe that working hard is going to make them more money. Well, maybe next year they'll make 50,000. It's an improvement, but they're not going to get the yacht. You know what I mean? So you may see some improvements if you have very dominant belief that working hard and killing yourself is going to make more money. You may get some more. And I know that when I was younger and I had that mindset, if I really hustled, I could make a little more money, but I never burst through any ceilings doing that. Okay? So if you are unhappy in your job again, you want to think about options. Not necessarily I got to quit, but just realize you have options and allow yourself to jot down as many of those options as you can, and then of the options, which one do you like the most? Is it quit the job? Is it ask for a different assignment? Is it move your desk? Is it go work remote? Is it start an Etsy page? I don't know. Like there's options. There's so many options. And then rather than just staying where you're at, where the energy is telling you I need to shift, give yourself permission to look at your options and then select the one that's the most exciting to you. All right. Just looking through, looking for some questions here. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's so many here I want to answer. Oh. Okay. Okay. So there's so many good ones. Hard to pick. All right. I'm going to take this one. Rajiv. Hi, I keep getting good results many times, but then all of a sudden I just lose the momentum and go back to not being able to maintain that winning vibe. How do I get off this roller coaster ride? Oh my gosh. I really love that question because I think this is something that, as practitioners, conscious practitioners of the law of attraction, so many people see. You guys see the magic. You go up the roller coaster. It's working, it's working, working. And then, oh, it's not working. And there's this. Okay. How do we stop doing this? Okay. Well, understand the mechanism. Okay. The big thing is the mechanism. And the other thing I will say is that even if you're really, really good, this may still happen once in a while, and that's okay. It's an opportunity to practice observing the mechanism. Okay. And so we always want to remember the mechanism of the law of attraction. What I focus on expands. Okay. This concept creates so many roller coaster rides for people. It's insane. I've experienced this myself, but now that I understand this, it's a lot easier to navigate. All right. So if things start working for you, let's say that you're looking for money and you start noticing, oh, I got 10 bucks here, I got 25 here. All of a sudden, what you're focusing on goes up, 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 up. Okay. I see this within my business sales all the time. Okay. I may have a day where I wake up and there's a surprise, they get an extra sale I wasn't expecting, whatever. It's more than I thought. And I'm like excited about it. Oh my gosh, look at that sale. And then, like clockwork, another one comes, and then another one comes. And then it's almost absurd that it just starts coming, 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 coming. Okay. That's going up the roller coaster. Now, the exact opposite can happen where maybe tomorrow I wake up and I didn't get those extra sales. Like maybe I got a big old goose egg. Nothing. There's nothing there. And I notice, oh, there's nothing there today. Instead of focusing on all the good that came yesterday, I'm now focused on this didn't it's not coming. It's not coming. And then it doesn't come. Crickets, 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 crickets. That's it. That's all that's going on. Okay? Is that I'm either focusing on the success and I'm getting more of it, or I'm focusing on the lack of success and I'm getting more lack of success. So, one thing, again, I've talked a lot about validation. We want to validate, validate. So, when you start seeing that roller coaster drop back down, excellent time for validation. This is showing me that I need to focus again back in on the principles. Okay. This is giving me real time evidence of the law of attraction. So I talked about my husband a little bit earlier. I'll talk about him again. He's getting a lot of playtime on this live today. We'll see if he watches it, what he thinks. So this happened to me yesterday. I had a little roller coaster. Little roller coaster. Like I said, we went to go buy my daughter a car. And so we both drove down in my car. And then my husband drove back up with my daughter in the new car, and I drove my car up separately. Okay, separately. So I was driving on my own. And like I've mentioned, I don't work that much anymore. So I got a lot of free time. I'm very relaxed. I don't usually have like these big expenditures of energy. And so it had been a long day. We had driven down to Fort Lauderdale, which is about 2 hours from where I live. And we'd gone down there, then we dealt with the dealer, and now I'm driving back up. And so this is at this point, I've already spent like 6 or 7 hours doing all this stuff, and I'm tired. And on my way home, I'm taking the Florida Turnpike. You might know about it. I don't know. The turnpike that takes you from South Florida on up. And I'm kind of tired, and there's a rest stop. And I'm like, you know what? Let me stop. Let me get something to eat real quick. Use the facilities and then go. And I come back to the parking lot and I'm sitting in the car. I'm like, you know what? I'm really tired. I really could take a nap right now. But instead of doing that, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to push ahead. I'm going to push ahead. I'm going to get home. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. So I get back on the turnpike, get going for a few minutes, and blaze right past my exit. Now, this is a problem on the Florida Turnpike because it took my 2-hour drive and turned it into a 3-hour drive. Okay, so now all of a sudden, I've got an extra hour on my drive. So I call my husband up. I'm in a bad mood. Am I thinking positive right then? No, I'm thinking pretty negative. Then guess what happens? All of a sudden, there's a big old accident looming ahead on the turnpike, slows me down even more. And I'm on the phone with my husband. And as much as I didn't want to hear it, he's like, yeah, but like, it makes sense. You're in a bad mood. So you're just going to attract more of that. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, you know what? Let me get off the phone. Let me get off the phone. Get off the phone, put on some relaxing music, and I start reframing. Okay. How might this be working out for me? You know what? I was going too fast, doing too much. Maybe this is forcing me to slow down and get back in my relaxed state. You know what? I didn't really want to do anything else when I got home anyway, so I might as well just chill out in my car. You know what? It's actually a nice day out. So at least I get to, sit out here and see the beautiful Florida skyline right now. This is not, and I just kept doing that. How is this working out? How is this working out? And then magically, the seas part, okay? The accident goes away. I'm on my merry way. And now all of a sudden that ride that seemed impossible started to become more fun and more enjoyable. Okay? That's how you navigate those roller coasters. Understand that in that moment I'm just focusing on lack of success. That's it. That's it. One of the big, big things that you want to try and harness with the law of attraction. Any situation like that can be transmuted and changed. All right, guys, I've been on for over an hour. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump off because, like I mentioned, I don't work that much anymore. Okay. But yeah, as a reminder, I am doing the limited time audio coaching. Limit two per person. If you're interested, please don't order more than two. I can't take that many. They will only be up until June 27th, and I might drop them off earlier. So if you're one of those people who's been wanting to get audio coaching from me, it's probably the only time this year I'm going to do it. So if you're interested, grab it now while it's available in case I fill up too fast. Again, I put that link in the chat and it's also in the description if you are watching this live as a replay. But thanks so much for signing in with me, guys, and for all the questions. I really appreciate it. I'd love to do some more lives. If you're interested, let me know. If you have any topics that you'd like for me to address, I'd be happy to do some more of these because this was a lot of fun. All right, guys, but have a great week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.